real estate enthusiasts, welcome to The Closing Table, hosted by entrepreneur, published author, and founder of Inspired Title Group, Dru Wischhover. Joining Dru is his co-host, the always smiling director of operations and title guru, Aimee Maley. Every week, they're dishing out laughter, game-changing tips, and the latest industry trends, as well as the occasional visit from real estate professionals. No matter where you are in your real estate journey, we've got you covered. So don't just sit there. Pull up a chair, have a seat, and join us at The Closing Table. Ow. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to your one-stop shop for everything real estate. I am the president and CEO of Inspired Title Group.
Are you excited to be here today?
I don't know. Yeah, always. Always excited. Always.
Wow. I feel the love over here.
Yeah.
And I am Aimee Maley, the title guru and director of operations here at Inspired Title Group. Everybody get ready for another jam-packed episode.
Jam-packed it is, no doubt. We're going to take some deep dives into some more of our ABCs of title.
We're on R.
The letter R is up. We are going to talk about some terms like redlining.
We have 8 letters until we have no more letters.
Uh-oh. Then what do you do? What do you do when you run out of letters?
I don't know. Maybe new song reviews.
There you go. There you go.
Movies, HBO shows.
Oh,
we have HBO now, so now I'm like
you're all in?
show critic. Yes.
Nice.
Chernobyl. Binge that in a weekend. I'm on Penguin now.
Jeez.
I know. And we did what's that new one we're watching?
Did you watch Suits? I love Suits.
How long is it? A long series?
Yeah, it is.
That's my issue.
Right.
Like my attention span is like a gerbil. So give me like 5 or 6 really good shows and like I'm in. But sorry. Anyways, continue with your red.
All right. So we got redlining, and then we'll talk also about reverse mortgages and what they are. And that's not all.
No, we are going to. Sorry, I have a
no.
in my mouth. We are going to talk about the recent hurricanes.
We had hurricanes?
Yeah, a couple of them. Okay. Helene and Milton.
Oof.
And the impact of them on the housing market. So I think we're going to look a little bit into just kind of natural disasters in general and their effect on the housing market, because it does have an effect on the housing market. And then we are going to talk about our mental health event that's coming up.
Can't wait.
And hope for the day. And more events that we have coming up and a lot of philanthropy that we're doing. And we're also going to talk to Brent.
Yes. Well, we're also going to have a special guest. Brent Jensen will be here today to share his insight on the real estate market and what is going on as a realtor and some of his endeavors and things. That's a lot of things that we're going to be talking about, right?
It's a lot. So whether you're a seasoned homeowner or a first-time home buyer, this episode definitely is something for you.
All right, everybody, grab that cup of coffee, pull up your chair, and let's get started as we open up the discussion at the closing table.
I'm trying to finish my mint really quick before it's time to talk again.
Yeah, well, so it's the letter R. And we've got redlining and reverse mortgages. Would you like to go first? Or you want me to go first since you have a mint? I tried to talk a little bit longer to give you a little bit more time.
Okay, so I'll start.
All righty.
When you hear redlining, what do you visualize?
You're correcting a paper and you're giving me a D.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You're going to cross things out and you're going to tell me where all the mistakes are.
I mean, it's not too far off.
Oh.
So what redlining is, it actually got its name because mortgage companies would put lines around certain neighborhoods in certain areas that were more prone to quote unquote problem areas that they did not want to lend to. So this is obviously, if you didn't know, this is a huge problem. It's a discriminatory practice of denying loans or other financial services to residents of certain neighborhoods based specifically on race, color, national origin, or a different prohibited characteristic. Term comes from the practice of mortgage lenders drawing red lines around areas on maps to indicate neighborhoods that they do not want to lend to. And this excludes and hinders people's abilities to buy a home. Even though people might qualify financially, redlining has the ability to make it almost impossible to lend and for people to get a loan in a certain area.
Right. So they legitimately would circle a community and say, you know what,
We're not
anybody
gonna
that
let here.
applies in there, we're not going to touch them.
Correct.
Interesting.
And so when I went to real
estate school, yeah, we were skating and we learned about real estate.
When I went to real estate school, they usually steering and redlining were two terms that they kind of went hand in hand. Steering because they were trying to push people to or away from certain areas. Just like this redlining would make it really hard for people to get approved for loans in certain areas.
Yeah.
It's illegal under the Fair Housing Act, if you could probably understand why.
Totally.
It impacts home values, home ownership, and still wealth today.
Yeah, I mean, it's we obviously talked a little bit about steering in other episodes as it kind of related to some of the new things that are happening with the realtors and such. But the redlining term is probably not something that people are familiar with or have even heard much of.
Correct.
So that is a cool little tip,
and I like it because it's easy to remember for me.
Yeah. Because I mean, again, we could relate to school and just circling areas and saying, hey, we're not going to lend to anybody.
Could you imagine just like, being in an office, being a mortgage person and just like having a map on your back wall and be like, no. I feel like in today's market, anybody should want to work with anybody.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. Thanks, Aim. That was great. I want to share a little bit about reverse mortgages. We have started to see a couple of these pop up here and there with a couple of our different relationships and things. And a reverse mortgage is
morbid.
Is literally what you think it is. It goes against everything else. It's backwards. It legitimately is going backwards. It allows homeowners that are 62 or older. So in order to qualify,
62?
You have to be age 62 or older to borrow money against the equity in their home.
62, those are still like baby chicks.
Yes. And maybe that number will change. Who knows?
That's crazy.
So it's unlike the traditional mortgage where you make a monthly payment and you repay that loan. The reverse mortgage, they pay you. It's crazy, right? The lender pays you. And then the loan becomes due when either you sell your house, you die, or you move out. It is morbid. That is true. So, people think of some of the elderly. I mean, they'll use this as supplemental income for themselves because maybe they're not making enough in, their Social Security or, to help cover some of the healthcare costs and things like that. Home improvements. I mean, reverse mortgages can be utilized for, any and all home improvements and things. Debt consolidation. It's sad to think about a 62-year-old with a lot of credit card debt, but I'm sure it's out there.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So it's people ask the question, who's best suited for these? Who do these really apply to? And again, you got to be 62 and you got to own the home outright or have a pretty low mortgage balance. Okay. So again, when they talk about it being against the equity in your house, you have to have equity in your house. And then you need to if you need additional income for retirement, it's a good opportunity. So when we do these, you think about like reasons behind why, and it's sad. And we're glad to participate in these to help these folks out in those circumstances and situations because it's really beneficial for them in getting qualified and actually getting this loan closed. This really is something that they're excited about versus, oh my gosh, I got to go pay a mortgage for the next, 15 or 30 years. This bad boy lasts until, you do one of three things. And, it leaves the kids with that issue on the title that you've got a reverse mortgage sitting out there.
Yeah.
Right.
The money's going to be due somewhere at some point.
Yeah. So you sell the house and you pay that thing off. I mean, it's not like you're going to, gain from it because, mom and dad did. And that was the purpose behind it. So, and you got to obviously watch out for the fraud there to, they don't ever report the death and, the kids still collect the monthly checks that are coming in, but, mom or dad have passed. So it's pretty crazy, but that is exactly what a reverse mortgage is. So hopefully that has been helpful for you guys, and hopefully that has given you guys a little bit of an insight. And as Aimee said, the letter R, we've got 8 left, right? Counting them out on her fingers. Yes. There are 8 letters left, guys. So we're going to take you to the end of the year with this bad boy and ride out this train of the rest of the letters. I don't think there's a letter that stumped us. We've had a couple letters give us a little, little struggle, but we went ahead and navigated through it. So let's get on to our next segment, and let's start talking about.
We're not even going to be able to finish within the year.
I know. Next year. It's good. So I don't know if you heard, unless you were maybe under a rock.
Okay, let's not.
But
some people don't like the news.
There were a couple hurricanes that have happened in the last couple weeks, and they were pretty substantial. And one of them prevented us from taking our annual vacation, because we typically go down to Florida annually to Aimee Maley Island, and it is one of the places that was heavily impacted by it, and so was the Tampa Bay area. But Hurricane Helene went through first, and did her damage, and then pretty much a week later, Hurricane Milton came in and spiked the ball on the net. So there is a lot of recovery efforts and a lot of things going on in Florida that are really sad. And there's a lot of lives that have been lost, but we wanted to at least talk a little bit about some of the things and how this can impact the economy. Does title insurance play a role in here? Just kind of have a little discussion about that and kind of see how that goes. So what you say, Aim?
Yeah. So I think
she says, yeah.
So my brain wanted to think about this in a couple different ways. For the first way I thought about it was, the impact on people of renting versus buying.
Okay. All right.
So, I feel like this would have to be a deterrent to, I feel like this would have to be a deterrent to people that are currently renting, that are thinking about home buying, right?
Sure.
Because while you still lose, like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure the people that rent apartments and you're still living in devastation, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a different kind of devastation than you are living than losing an entire house.
Right.
So I feel like my brain thinks that people would have to reconsider buying a house after natural disasters until when? I don't know if there's a time, like, I don't know if there's a time
I
frame.
think that that's interesting, because I think there's really a couple different sides of that, because one is, okay, hurry up, let's rebuild the house and let's get back on with life, and then there's the others kind of weighing the shall we move,
right,
so this doesn't happen again,
right,
or
like, should we scoop in and buy something up because people are going to be wanting to get rid of stuff and let's rebuild there,
right?
So that was one of the way my brain's like what my brain was trying to wonder how people do this. And then you were also talking about just title insurance in general. Like, how does title insurance tie into, this?
Yeah. And not at all directly.
Correct.
Because, not to really just segue into a rabbit hole of strictly talking about title insurance and the differences, but homeowners insurance is going to be the bigger impact player to this by far. The title insurance, where we see it being valuable and really being an asset to have it, is, if you think about the devastation, and especially in these communities and in places where you're right on, either the Gulf of Mexico or you're on the Atlantic Ocean side, and your home is just totally wiped away. Okay. So now lies this land. Okay. How do you prevent somebody else from kind of coming in there and saying, no, I own that, and you can't prove it, or somebody else coming in there and just building on it, and all of a sudden, there's this house standing on what was your home area and your property. So the title insurance then would continue to protect your rightful ownership of that land that house used to stand on. You still own the land. Like, that's something like when push comes to shove, even if the house is gone, the land, everything to the core of the earth to the outer space, you own. So if there's nothing standing there, you still own your land. Correct. And like this, I was also thinking, like, do investors try or builders try coming in here and scooping it and saying, well, you have nothing here. I'm going to quit claim,
quit claim me your house. I'll give you $100 and we'll like remove everything and you won't have to worry about it anymore. Like,
this is where being super cautious and making sure that you don't give the farm away, because I mean, that vacant land has value.
It does.
It's not just, well, give me a couple dollars and, deed that to me and I'll go ahead and, build this beautiful home and sell it for, a lot of money and make a lot of money. And basically you lost out, not only because the house was, wrecked in a hurricane, but then you lost out on the financial gains because somebody else reaped the benefit. Don't allow that
people to take advantage of you at a weak point.
The fraud is so out there, and the title insurance will protect you regardless of if you lose all of your documentation and paperwork in the devastation. Whether it doesn't mean that, okay, well, it floated away to sea, I don't have it anymore. It doesn't matter. It's still somewhere.
Thank goodness for electronics nowadays.
Amen. And your title company, your underwriter, where you closed, where you bought the house, call your attorney.
Will be available online somewhere.
A copy of your deed is recorded in the county showing that you own that. And that's a great starting space to verify ownership of that property. But under no circumstances allow somebody else to come in there and just start to take over that land. I mean, sure, the insurance companies are going to be inundated with phone calls right now for, the damage and rebuilding and all of that. And it's going to take years before that takes place. And I think I was just reading there was it's like $75 billion. Like,
it's insane.
I mean, it's just a huge number to wrap your head around as to what this damage is and what it means. So, homeowners insurance will be first, and then title insurance is more protecting you from the fraudsters that are out there trying to, steal your house away.
And not to like get super mumbo jumbo. We have like climate change, right?
Yep.
Like, I just feel like insurance is increasing yearly, monthly because of this weird climate shift that we're going through. That like there has to be more natural disasters now than there have been ever.
Yeah.
Right.
No, they're saying it already. And I mean, the fact that Milton became a 5 out in the, in the middle of the Gulf was just because of all the energy it was able to build up because the water was so darn warm.
How insane is that?
Yeah. I mean, it got to a Cat 5 before it hit landfall, which is, winds sustained of like 165 miles an hour. And, you think about bringing that onto landfall with millions of people living there and in some of these just wooden shacks that are built on sand, like they're not going to withstand that kind of, damage. But no, to your point, climate change is certainly something to, to be thoughtful of when you're, buying that vacation home and or retiring there. And, I think that segues perfectly to that economic piece as to what's going to happen. Like what do people do?
What do people do?
Your aunt had a place down there that she lost in a hurricane a couple years ago, and then moved to right where Milton and Helene hit. And she's one of those folks who she's a trooper. She's going to stay down there. That's her place. And you know what? God bless. I absolutely respect that. But I also don't shame people for going, I want out of here. This is too much.
For sure. Sure. Yeah.
Your grandfather who's, 80 plus, 90,
89.
80, he's almost 90 years old. He didn't move. He's in the Tampa
Maybe
area.
90. I mean, yes. He's Tampa. He's on the second floor, he said.
Okay. Well, second floor, that's only 10 feet. A story is about 10 feet.
I was not afraid about the flood. I was afraid of
wind.
Sharknado.
Oh yeah, floating sharks everywhere. Yeah, alligators in your closet.
Right,
they just
doesn't
flood
really
your room.
Sound like a good time to me.
It's crazy stuff. But 10 feet of water would get to his area. Is he in like a condo building? What kind of a?
It's just like apartment.
It is an apartment. Okay,
yeah,
all right. Yeah, that's you saw it on TV, and it was there were two sides. It was never really that middle area. It was we're staying here. We don't care. We've been through this. We get it. And then there's oh my God, we're out of here.
I couldn't. Oh God,
right?
God bless you people.
Yeah.
You're brave if you stayed. I would probably run as fast as I can though.
And I know, I know the feds are watching this as well. And what that totally means and what that's going to impact are two things. One of them is going to be the election, because we've got an election here in, a month.
less.
And the devastation is not going to be put back together in time. So that could potentially impact some of the voters and what happens. I also tell you that the people in the South are watching with a very close eye how the government is handling this situation and circumstance, and they're gonna grade this. And if the Democrats do a great job, that's gonna really entice some people to think on that side. If they do a horrible job, it's gonna move people to the Republican side. So it's being scrutinized by a lot of people, the feds included, to see, okay, how much money is this going to shell out?
Right.
Because if we do another cut, will this help them? Will this hurt them? What is the impact of that going to look like? Because we reported, probably 2 weeks ago that, the feds were talking about dropping the rates a couple more times throughout through the end of the year. Now you got,
well, and they raised them, right? They raised them a little bit.
So the rates
week.
went down, via the feds.
Yep.
And what happened was the rates, in anticipation of that, were lower. So then the feds, when they actually dropped it, the banks realized it, and they actually increased their rates a little bit to slow down what they opened up. When they opened up the spigot, people were kind of, there was an onslaught, as we felt, of refinances happening.
Weeks. It was like 2 weeks of
literally
chaos.
And then they kind of turned the spigot down a little bit slower and said, okay, we're gonna slow that down a little bit. And the interest rates went back up a skosh. So
a skosh.
It's a really interesting and undeciding time. Like, it's so hard to
you can say undesirable too. It's fine.
Desirable is a good word too. It's very undesirable, but it's also very, like, the speculation is so crazy, because you've got 10 people that'll say this is going to happen, and you got 10 people that'll say that is going to happen. And you know what? Who's right? Whichever happens.
Right.
Because, there's really no telling. So take one day at a time, kids, because I think that's all we can do. And there's really no definitive answers, but this will impact a lot of things. This will definitively impact what the feds do. This is going to, in fact, impact the economy based on how much money we spend. It's going to impact the election. People are going to be moving out of Florida. People are going to be, the prices of rebuilding Florida is going to go up because of where the economy's at now. I mean, it's just it adds to the bubble that we're all kind of sitting here going, when that bad boy bursts, I don't know if I want to be around. It's going to be scary.
It's going to be terrifying.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that, we like you just kind of sit and wait and see what hand we're dealt, and we move from there. So, we welcome your comments and questions, and feel free to, reach out to us and share your thoughts about this as well, because we always love to hear from our listeners, and that really means a lot to us as well. So, I think we covered that pretty well.
I think we did too.
Well, isn't that special? So I'd like to invite you guys to join us as we welcome in our newest of the week. This is kind of a great portion for us. It's the Inspired People part of the show. So we're going to get to Mr. Brent Jensen, everybody. So what we're going to do is we are going to introduce a special guest that we've come to know through just different events that we've done, different networking opportunities and gatherings. Certainly has become a friend of ours. He is a well-established realtor. He's been doing it for many, many years. Let's welcome Mr. Brent Jensen, everybody, with the Jensen Group from Caldwell Banker. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we thought the Masters music might come up, but that's we'll get there.
I was hoping it would. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we will get there. So why don't you take a couple seconds and introduce yourself and say hello to our big listening audience here, and tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. Yeah. My name is Brent Jensen. I'm, as you mentioned, Drew, I'm a real estate broker with Coldwell Banker. I'm out of the Hinsdale office. Used to be out of the Downers Grove office. So I'm back with the Hinsdale office. I live in Downers Grove, and I've got a beautiful wife, April, and my two beautiful daughters, Avery, who's 4, and Riley, who is 3.
Nice.
Just, yeah, love being a dad. So.
Yeah. Well, very few, you know what? We've had a lot of guests on, and very few people actually plug, the kids in the family. I love that. That's awesome. No, that's awesome.
I appreciate that. That's why I do what I do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You have a lot of freedom being a realtor, don't you?
I do have a lot of flexibility at times, and other times not so much. The market's been so crazy that if you're representing buyers, the last 3 years or so, if you're not getting them in to see their house for a showing in the first 24 hours, you're going to have a hard time putting an offer together in time.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah.
So how long have you been in real estate?
I think I'm starting my 9th year. Will be starting my 10th year towards the end of this year. I was licensed in, I think, October of 2015.
Okay.
Somewhere in that range.
Nice. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, but I grew up in the business. Both of my parents were real estate brokers. I'm partnered with my father, Jeff Jensen, who's been in the business for 40 plus years. And, he started off in 1978 before the I-355 corridor was here. Mm-hmm. And he would go up and down that corridor for Lamplighter Real Estate Brokerage. And I don't know that they're even in existence anymore, but he was going up and down the I-55 corridor trying to sell off gas station sites.
Oh wow, wow,
yeah.
So his time spent was in the commercial space versus the residential space.
No, actually, he pivoted from Lamplighter and started his own brokerage. With Realty World. Okay. And opened an office in Clarendon Hills and recruited a handful of agents to go with him when he started. And then he grew that into a second Realty World office in Hinsdale, and then transitioned from that to an ERA franchise in Hinsdale. And he, at one point, I think, had 100 or so agents working for him with his ERA franchise out of Hinsdale.
Wow, that's a blast from the past, ERA. Holy cow.
Yeah, yeah.
So how has it changed for you? Almost a decade you've been in here. You said the last 3 years have kind of been unlike anything anybody, has ever seen before. So like from a realtor or from a broker's perspective, like how did your first 7 years compare to what this is now?
A total difference.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've told people, COVID kind of created the perfect storm with the real estate market. We saw a mass exodus from downtown Chicago when everything closed down from COVID because everyone was needing more space to work from home, for kids to do school from home. And even socially, people wanted to have a backyard so they could social distance, and let the kids run around and play still.
Right.
At that point, then interest rates dropped. Yep. To numbers that we haven't seen in my lifetime. And then it was a free for all. We just couldn't get enough inventory on the market, and that's kind of where we're at right now, right? Is we're still reeling from the market from that started 3 years ago, roughly. Right. So we're still having inventory issues. Everybody, you either sold and purchased in the last 3 or 4 years, or you refinanced.
Right.
So I think at one point there was a number of 40% of American homeowners owned their property, and they were in their property for an interest rate of 4% or better.
40% was that number? Is that what the
roughly 40%? Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know where that's at today.
Sure. I'm not in that number.
Well, a lot of people are better than that number, unfortunately. So you must you must have done something in the last year or so when it comes.
Are you a wizard?
Yeah, she's
or a mind reader?
Yeah, she certainly has done some things in the last year or so.
Yeah,
buying a house and
I built a house.
building a house.
Oh, there you go.
In April. Yeah. So we are not one of the
Congrats.
fortunate ones. Thank you. At the 2 or 3%, but we're good.
Right,
We're happy where we're at. Yeah.
Perfect refi candidate.
I am a perfect refi candidate.
Well, and you know what? You guys know this as much as anybody else, but in the history of interest rates on mortgages, people have a hard time still remembering that 7% is pretty average.
It's
right.
Yeah, it's
right.
Yeah, my dad, when we were first, decided to build and we're talking about, the interest rates and stuff, and he's like, back in my day, I'm like, here we go, Dad. And he's like, 14%. And I was like, okay, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I did a little bit of that as well. I mean,
y'all did.
8 to 10%, my first home coming out of the gate. But
yeah,
I mean, I refinanced.
Yeah, sure. But you were able to buy your 3,000 square foot, 4-bedroom, 3-bath house for, $295 at $10%.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a true statement. It's not, the $595,000 10% loan.
I think that's something people don't often think about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like when my dad, built their house, they were building it for $160,000 or something, not 400 and something.
Yeah, but 160 in 1970 was comparable to what the
85
3,000 and 4,000 is now.
1985.
Yeah. Well, still, it's
I mean, even then that was fairly expensive. I remember my grandparents, they bought a home in Westmont in a relatively new development at the time. I think they paid $170-something thousand for it, but they were at I think 12 or 13% interest rate initially. Now that same house needs to be updated a little bit on the inside, but it would probably sell in today's market for $349, $350.
Yeah. And that's I mean, at those rates, I mean, that's the mortgage that never goes away.
Oh, right.
You just pay on that for eternity. Like
exactly.
12%, the bank is going, I love this loan. Please don't ever refinance it. This is the best loan ever.
Right.
It's insane. So what as you're kind of saying that you've been in this for coming up on 10 years here now, what was your previous role and job and what how did you kind of migrate from high school, college into the family biz? Was it just the path that you were going to take, or how did that all look?
No, actually, my path it kind of started in high school. I played basketball and golf in high school and realized that my future was more with golf, and so I pursued that in college. I played college golf at St. Mary's College of California. And after I graduated, I got my foot in the door in the coaching, in the college coaching world of golf while I was trying to play professionally. So I tried to pursue professional golf for about 2.5, 3 years while I was volunteering as an assistant coach at St. Mary's. And I got an opportunity not too long after that to help the Florida Gulf Coast University team down in Fort Myers, kind of help them transition and coach their program, transitioning from Division II to Division I.
Wow.
And I was there for about 6 years. And then my last year coaching, I was at University of South Florida in Tampa.
That doesn't suck.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't suck.
But when I was coaching, the college golf world was a little different. College golf coaches don't get the same contracts as Division I football coaches or basketball coaches, right? So, I always wanted to have a family, and it just came a perfect opportunity to kind of transition into something else. And what better thing to get into than real estate, for a little bit more financial freedom and schedule wise freedom on the schedule, and being able to be at the kids' things and watch my kids grow up instead of working nonstop and being on the road recruiting and all that.
No, you're able to be a dad. That's that's an awesome accolade. Any how close did you get as far as in the professional space? What was any good stories there?
Not as far as I wish I would have, obviously. But I went to Q school, made it past the first couple of stages of Q school, and didn't make it past that. And that's the place I want to go at some point in my life before I die.
For sure. You got to get
Just
to
the national. So
right.
I didn't get
think
tickets this year.
my only chance at this point is, trying to win the US Mid-Am or something like that, I think.
Would you still try that?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm rallying. I would love this story. I would love this Cinderella story to happen.
Where do they do that?
I'm supporting this.
Where do they do it?
They have different sites all over the country where you can qualify for the US Mid-Am. It's just like the US Am.
Okay.
They have sites all over the country, and then they have a sectional site if you make it past that. And then, if you're in the top certain number of guys based on the field, you get into the USO Am. It's the same thing for the Mid-Am, except you got to be 35 and older. And the field is not so intense.
Right.
I'm in it. So do you think your lessons are going to get me there? Is that what we're shooting for?
I think so. I think we can get you there. We'll get you to the Champions Tour, and I'll caddy for you.
He said he could do it in 5. I've challenged him with that as much as
I don't think he said
me.
I can get you on the tour in 5.
No, that we have not had a discussion about. No.
We're gonna have to refocus our priorities if that's the goal.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, yeah, I'm going to have to change a lot of things in my swing and my mental approach to the game, because wow. Yeah, that's, I mean, it's, golf, as you well know, and we do it with different outings and things that we participate in.
Yeah.
It's really in the sport of individualism, and it really does rely on, everything is you, and kind of real estate is very similar to that. I mean, you got to hustle, you got to get out there and, make the relationships and get the leads. There's a lot of synergy there, a lot of parallels.
There is, actually. And, it's funny you say that, because from the business, you're very correct in that statement. And also from what my role is as a real estate broker, I've taken so many things that I've learned in my time coaching and have transitioned that into my business.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think of myself as a salesman. I am more of an advisor or a consultant to my clients. And at the end of the day, it's their house. Right. I'm going to give them the pros and cons. And essentially I'm just a conduit to help make their real estate goals happen. And that's one of the things that I talk to my clients about is, what are your goals? What are you looking to get out of this? And that's kind of where we start, whether they're selling or buying. And I'm not gonna push anybody into a home, just to get the deal done. I worked with clients for 2 years before they purchased a house. I've shown clients over 100 homes before they've purchased a house.
Sure.
So, at the end of the day, it's just about making their dreams a reality.
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to fulfill America's dream. But yeah, I mean, think about
cow.
that. Like, you have the patience of Job, though. Obviously
that's why he's such a good golfer.
Right. That's why he makes a successful golf coach. That's why you're a good golfer. Like, you have a mindset that's like, okay, I'm doing this for another reason. Like, yes, this is a job, and yes, you have to earn an income to provide for family, but you also meet people where they are and understand that, hey, the average isn't 100 homes. That's not the norm, but if you're doing a fair amount of work, you're going to have those clients, and that's part of the biz, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I want to grow my business organically to some extent, in the sense of, I'm going to treat a rental tenant the same as I'm going to treat a $2 million listing, because number one, I want what's best for my clients. And number two, that tenant's going to turn into a home buyer who's going to turn into a home seller. And if I do my job the right way, I'm going to have clients for a long time.
Right.
No,
it's
sure.
really true.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if I've ever heard any broker speak it out loud that way.
Yeah. And Aimee just, got her real estate license earlier this year. And
I heard
having these interviews and meeting the different people that we've been meeting and stuff, I think it's giving you some different takeaways on the approach. And, there isn't a direct path of saying, okay, well, this is how you become, or this is what you do as a realtor. It's very different for everybody. It
really is very, and the experience is different, and the clients are different every time. And it's more about managing, their expectations, keeping them in a realm of reality. And, that's a lot of what I did as a college coach was, held people accountable, managed expectations, and managed personalities.
He's got his hands full with me.
Well, yeah, you're
I'm a special need kid right there.
I've played a couple rounds of golf with you. I know how you are.
I know. Yeah. Anyway, ask your favorite question here.
Yeah. So, we're over halfway through the year already.
Yes.
So what are you like for the rest of 2024? What are some things you want to accomplish either personally or professionally to kind of like project you into 2025?
That's a great question. I would say, one of the things, again, as a former coach, I used to have my players, we'd have a team meeting in the beginning of every year, and I'd have them create goals, right? So they would have to come up with 3 to 5 goals that they would want to accomplish on the golf course, 3 to 5 goals that they'd like to accomplish off the golf course or in the classroom.
Yeah.
And we would periodically meet, over and about those goals. But for me, I have always set lofty goals for myself, and I have yet to achieve all of them. And one of those this year is trying to reach my volume goal. So I'd like to see if I can close the year out strong. The difference, I think, in real estate to golf is, there's a lot of market conditions that nobody has control over.
Totally.
Weather conditions
unlike
in golf.
there are some conditions in golf that, are variable, right? Like the weather and the course setup and all that.
No, but
that
I get what you're saying.
It more difficult, but yeah. So that's one of them. The other is to continue to try and evolve and become a better person and a better parent and husband to my kids and my wife.
Great answer.
Do either of your girls golf yet?
They have been to the driving range a couple of times. 4 and 3-year-olds attention span on the golf course, they'd rather roll down the hills, on the driving range. And
I only did that one time. Don't yell at me for that. Come on. I know I'm a tough learner.
And playing in the sand, they'd rather play in the sand than anything else. No, they enjoy it. They my older one, Avery, she every once in a while will say, "Daddy, can we go to play golf? Can we go to the driving range?" And so we try and make that happen. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. I witnessed my godson, who's 4, at a driving range the other day for the first time. And I call him a bushwhacker because I think one day he's going to be like a boxer. So watching him swing a golf club and just I was like, everybody beware, because you don't know where this is going. But the fact that he held a golf club and wanted to swing it was quite amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And that's the kind of the approach my wife and I are taking when it comes to kids and sports is kind of introduce them to everything, and they'll eventually pick something they like.
Yeah,
something will stick. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you had any just touching on this, and if it's something that you'd kind of rather shy away from, I'm totally fine with it. But obviously, with everything that's going on in the marketplace and the new commissions and things, have you felt or seen anything particularly as it relates to buyers, brokers not being paid by the sellers? Have you had any kind of run in with that, or any kind of anything to chat about there?
Well, there's a lot of changes coming down the pike. I think it's August 18th now where things officially change. But when the dust settles, I don't think a whole lot's going to change. I think at the end of the day, the best part about this whole settlement thing in my mind is the transparency. There's too many real estate brokers that shy away from having those tough conversations early on in the relationship with their clients. And in my mind, it's always better to have those conversations up front than try and keep something from them.
Yeah.
And they have the right to know those things. And commissions have always been negotiable since real estate's been around, since commissions have been around. There just hasn't been a lot of transparency and conversation about that, especially on the buy side. And now I think the best part about it is you're going to have buyer agency agreements before you even start showing properties.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is great, because before it was like the Wild West to a certain extent when it came to showing clients. I mean, I've had clients before where I've taken them out to see houses, and then I find out, that they're going out and seeing houses with other agents too.
Right.
Right.
And it's not that I didn't want to have those conversations with them. It's, it's up to them what they want to do.
Right.
I think the buyer agency agreement really kind of protects the agent in the relationship more so than the client. I hate saying it.
Yeah. No, I think that's true. And I mean, it's been a practice that's been going on for, forever. So realistically, I think that any change is a big change, but I don't foresee drastic changes here, because I think I err on the side of what you're saying as well, with regard to, I think it's just going to be more communication, more transparency, more, more.
It's going to be more documentation, right? I mean, there's going to be, there's going to be a few more things, a few more forms to be filled out, maybe an addendum or two to the contract added. But at the end of the day, I think that it's going to behoove most sellers to offer some sort of cooperating commission.
Yeah.
I think ultimately that's going to yield them the most money for their property at the end of the day. Because if you think about a buyer having to come out of pocket for not only their down payment, but then at the closing table, their realtor commission, that $400,000 offer is going to look a little bit different if they have to come up with, an additional $16,000 to pay their broker fees.
Yeah, they're big numbers, and that's, it's going to be hard to get these folks qualified if they're on the, on the fence or on the edge of, bringing money or FHA, or, it's a big impact. And I think that's the media is making this a really, really big monster. And I don't think it needs to be until, it's nothing until it's something. So let's kind of play it out and see what happens and get ready for it.
And as of right now, they're taking the cooperating commission off the MLS. Right. So now the agents, before submitting offer, have to call the listing agent and say, are you guys offering a cooperating commission? If so, what does that look like?
Right.
And, figure out how to present the best offer for their clients, their buyer clients, taking that into account.
Yep. Totally. No, totally. Brent, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy day and sharing some of this wisdom and insight with us. It is always good to learn and hear about what's going on in the market around us from the people who are in the business and who are near and dear to us, and who we like to call friend. Appreciate you for all that you do and all that you continue to do, and looking forward to growing that and seeing how we can kind of grow together as well. So
I appreciate that.
Before we go, I want to ask you to do us a favor. And what is your definition? How do you define success?
Oh man. I think success to me is, it's so multifaceted for me. I think, success to me is having a life that I'm happy with, that my kids are happy with, that my wife is happy with. Success to me is not so much about the financials or how much volume you sell or where you're ranked as a real estate broker. To me, it's, can we live the life that we want to live? And is everybody happy? And are we continuing to try and grow and get better?
Love that answer, man.
That's
Love
fantastic.
that answer. Thank you again for being here today and doing this. you have anything that you want to add? Why don't you plug yourself? How can people get a hold of you, and where can they reach you and find you and all the social stuff, so we can get this out there and have
Besides the
people
next
contact you?
PGA All-Star?
Yeah, well, you may see us on the, on the amateur tour.
Yeah, so you can find me social media wise. I'm at Brent Jensen Realtor. I think that's both Facebook and Instagram. I'm not a big TikToker, so you won't find me on TikTok. And other than that, email and cell phone. My cell phone 630-408-4871, and brent.jensen@cbrealty.com is my email account.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time today. We absolutely appreciate you. Go out there and keep doing it, and we will absolutely talk to you soon.
Sounds good. I appreciate you guys having me. Thanks so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Care.
Let's go golfing.
Yeah, right. Doesn't it just make you want to, get out there and golf? Like I said, you can see why, as a coach, just soothing, very.
As a coach, as a broker, as
a
a golfer,
right.
As a father and a husband, leading with your family, I think is something that I don't hear a ton, but it just changes the conversation right there.
Yeah, I loved it. That's why I said, out of the gate, very few have led that, and obviously his priority being family is near and dear to him, and that's awesome. And we're better people now that we've listened to him.
No doubt.
Our friend Brent Jensen, everybody. That is a great little time we get to share with him.
Yes.
You're a fan of Brent?
I am a huge fan of Brent.
Yeah, nice guy. He's always got his head and heart in the right place. So
he's so calm.
He is. And that's why he's an amazing golf instructor as well. Like he is just kind of
calm demeanor.
Slow down. And you're going, oh my gosh, dude, like I'm 20 steps ahead of you. Stop.
Yeah.
I'm going to hurt somebody. So we go now to the giving portion of our show, which we've shared it with you. We've told you about it, and I'm telling you that ticket sales are increasing, and we are going to sell this bad boy out. So please do not forget to get your tickets for our event on November 19th.
Correct.
Tell them about it, Aim. Give them some news.
It's we're doing our mental health panel called Breaking the Silence, and it's bringing a topic that we considered, taboo up until very recently, and kind of bringing it to the forefront. We are going to be joined by four fantastic panelists.
Yeah.
That we're gonna ask them some questions, get some answers from the professionals, and kind of just, like I said, bring something that isn't talked about enough to the forefront and make people comfortable talking about it.
Yeah, we're breaking the silence on your mental health, folks, because your mental health matters. And whether it be in the workplace, whether it be, at home with family and friends, whether it be, how to balance work and life, how do you, what do you do there? We're hoping to provide a lot of answers and direction for these questions. And we've been asked these questions from industry professionals, from friends and colleagues alike. It's really just something that has been kind of brewing inside, and here we are to excited to bring this to you guys. All of the proceeds from that day are going to Hope for the Day, which is a tremendous charity foundation that works with all kinds of different battles, and teen suicide is one of them that is high on their list. So all of our proceeds from this event will be going to Hope for the Day. So we're happy to have them as a charity partner in this thing, and super excited to lead this thing and bring this to you guys and your attention, because I think it's just it's a long time coming.
It is.
Right?
Yeah. And you had an exciting week at the bridge, right?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to volunteer at the Bridge Teen Center, and we did a class on entrepreneurship and kind of, teaching and sharing with these young adults and the youth about you set your mind on something, you can do it. And it was really, really an amazing time for me, because these kids were very receptive, and they asked great questions, and they're kind of at that life point in transition of like getting ready to go to college, and what do I do, and how do I do this, and they were very,
what should I do, and
yes, they were very inquisitive, and it was great. We played a little Shark Tank game where we got some kids together to create and sell some ideas, and these are a lot of kids who are typically shy, and they are they've got some great ideas, and the kids wanted to be from artists to engineers to like agriculture. There was one of the young kids wanted to be in farming and agriculture because that's what his family is been doing for years, and
that's cool.
He is like super passionate about it, and it was exciting to hear. I had 12 kids to teach and chat with, and it was wonderful. And I know Courtney did hers the day after, and it wasn't as well received as far as like the number of kids.
Sure,
but in her defense, that type of event and program is done by others, and I think that's what they had said. She was doing that like mashup room or something, right?
Like a Hulk smash room.
Yeah, it's like a smash room,
like a rage room.
And again, it's certainly cool idea and concept and things, but maybe these kids were burned out from having done it already, or whatever the case may be. But she didn't have the same amount of kids as far as participation goes, and so her experience was a little bit different, but still, nonetheless, she enjoyed the heck out of it because again, the personality and person that she is, with her background and her working in that mental health space, and working with all kinds of different ages, her patience is just amazing. So I'm sure that was great. And yours is coming up, what, in a couple weeks? Next Tuesday.
Yeah. And I think I only have a couple signed up right now, which I am thrilled about, because I'm doing a de-stressing through tumbling class.
Nice.
Teaching the kids, the importance of taking a big goal and breaking it into a smaller, more achievable goals, and how to not get so overwhelmed when you're looking at a big picture.
No, it's great.
So yeah, I'm excited. I'll see.
You have to bring mats?
Yeah. I'm doing little notebooks for them too, with like a step-by-step on how to do stuff. And
I think that, when I had just brought backpacks, and they were so appreciative of that, and it was just for one of my exercises that I was doing with them, and just very, very polite, and you'll have a
I'll have a good time. And I always like working with I'm good with one-on-one with kids and stuff, so I can't wait to see how what comes from it. And then we also have our Homes for Heroes Helping Heroes affiliates that we support a lot of what they do. They are having a couple great opportunities coming up that we're glad that we can, I don't want to say partner, I don't want to take too much authority with it, but
he authorized it. He said we can, say we're partnering with them on these events because, not only are we just supporting them, we're helping out from the sponsorship piece to the, bringing people out there type event too.
Yeah. So we're going to do Lunch with a Vet in November, on November 9th.
Yep.
Their Heroes Holiday Party is November 16th.
Yep.
And we are also participating in Adopt a Tot, which Amazon wish list. You buy presents for underprivileged kids, and you get to help make their Christmas special.
So awesome. So we're going to be having, you guys can definitely check out our social media as we start to kind of roll those things out and share a little bit more details, especially the Adopt a Tot, the Amazon wish list and things. That will close on December 14th. So just a great opportunity. There's over 100 kids that will be providing gifts through this this whole exercise. It's going to be amazing, and being part of it, and really working together with Heroes Helping Heroes has been just a great thing for us, and my brother-in-law Rich has really got a great thing going, and it's certainly something that I want to see if I can help him leapfrog that thing into some real big things. So stay tuned for more details on that. But like I said, check out our social channels for all of that.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
End of the year, it's coming downhill fast, man.
Yeah, we're gonna, start talking about our planning for 2025, and I'm starting to, have the team think about some of those things and kind of challenge them with some new goals for next year and things that we want to try to accomplish. It's always exciting as a business owner to find out what's in the heads of the team, the leadership team, because, I may have this idea and this plan, but, you guys may come up and say, hey, have you ever thought about this? And the answer would probably be no, because it's not in my head, it's in yours. And it's awesome to hear. So we'll be sure to keep you informed on those breaking developments as we evolve into the end of the year. I just can't believe it's like October,
it's
November.
insane. Halloween's in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All the fun stuff's coming up. Thanksgiving and Halloween and Christmas and New Year's.
Oh, yes. Well, everybody, we thank you guys for taking some time today to listen to our podcast and tune in and join us here today. We definitely thank Brent for being a guest on our show as well.
Always.
What else is there?
Yeah, we got to talk about redlining and reverse mortgages. Also talked about the impact of natural disasters on the economy and on the real estate market. And we kind of just rounded it out with everything that we are doing ITG Gives Back wise.
Yeah. So guys, do us a favor and please share this and get this show noticed. Subscribe, listen. We are available on all the social channels. We are everywhere on the internet. Our website is available. You can contact us if you have any questions. If there's a topic that you just love to hear us chat about, we're happy to do that as well. So, if there's future episodes that you guys want to learn about, whether it be in the title space or whether it be just in the real estate industry, let us know. We're happy to look for those guests and get those folks out here for you guys. So
absolutely.
We appreciate you guys again taking some time today. My name is Dru.
And my name is Aimee.
We are from Inspired Title Group. And this podcast is The Closing Table with her head on. That's it for this week's edition of The Closing Table. Be sure to head over to our podcast page on Spotify for more episodes. And please subscribe, like, and share. Follow the team on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Join us again next time, everybody. And thanks for listening.